You're just another
Police.
black boy
Hands
with
where
no
I can see them.
future.
What's going on? I
Judge
didn't
Harmon's
do
gavel
anything.
crashes
Turn
down.
around. Hands behind
Devin
your back.
Taylor rises.
Officer, please,
The
this is a
courtroom
mistake.
falls
You have
silent.
the right to remain silent.
17, shoulders squared despite the weight of every stare. The judge leans forward. I know your kind. Just another statistic. His finger jabs the air between them.
All right, let's get your prints.
No discipline, no father figure.
Look at the
judge's
camera.
lips curl.
Hold still.
Where is your
Look,
father
this is serious.
anyway?
Just tell me what happened.
Devin
I didn't do
maintains
anything, I
perfect eye
swear.
contact.
Save it.
May
Let's
I
go.
call him Your Honor?
In you go.
Judge
Someone will be
Harmon
by
smirks.
later.
By all means. If he even answers,
Please
Devin
pick
pulls
up. I
out
need
his
you.
phone, dials.
I'm in jail. It's bad.
courtroom watches.
Please help me. I'm
Dad,
so sorry. I love you.
Judge Harmon says you failed to raise me right. He's wondering where you are. Devin's voice remains steady. Could you come to courtroom 4B now? Who exactly waits on the other end of that line? Earlier that day, Devin Taylor enters the courthouse with his science project, a sophisticated air quality monitoring system. The metal detector beeps. Officer Briggs steps forward, eyes narrowing. What's that contraption? He grabs the device without waiting for an answer. An air quality monitor, sir, for my presentation to the Environmental Committee today. Briggs turns the device over roughly. Looks suspicious to me. Devin keeps his voice level. I have documentation. He reaches toward his backpack. Hands where I can see them, Briggs shouts, drawing attention from everyone in the lobby. Devin freezes. His heart pounds as Briggs calls for backup. Got a suspicious device. Uncooperative subject. 2 more guards appear. Devin notices Judge Harmon watching from nearby, arms crossed, making no move to intervene. I'm just here for my scheduled presentation, Devin explains again. Judge Harmon approaches. His gaze shifts between Devin and the device. Why aren't you in school, boy? I have an excused absence, sir. I'm presenting to the Environmental Committee. Environmental Committee? In my courthouse? The judge's tone drips with disbelief. Yes, sir. Yes. Room 302 at 11 a.m. Dr. Williams is expecting me. The judge checks his watch. We'll see about that. Bring him to my courtroom first. The guards escort Devin away. His carefully constructed project now sits partially disassembled in Officer Briggs's hands. As they walk, Devin notices other visitors with briefcases and electronics passing through security without question. A white student with a science fair display board walks right through. Devin texts his father. Delayed at security, might miss presentation time. His father replies instantly. What's happening? Devin starts typing, then stops. His father has enough pressure already. Just extra security checks, nothing serious. Judge Harmon walks ahead, his robes flowing behind him. Devin catches fragments of his conversation with Briggs. These people always have excuses. Teach him about authority. Knows his place after today. Devin straightens his shoulders. This isn't about his project anymore. What does Judge Harmon really want with a high school student's environmental science project? In Judge Harmon's empty courtroom, Devin stands before the bench. His project sits in pieces on a table. Explain again what this device does. Judge Harmon doesn't look up from his phone. It's an air quality monitor that measures particulate matter in low-income neighborhoods, Your Honor. Devin keeps his voice steady. I've been collecting data showing correlation between poor air quality and respiratory illness rates. Judge Harmon tosses Devin's papers aside without reading them. And why bring this to my courthouse? The Environmental Committee meets here monthly. I was invited to present my findings. Dr. Williams confirms there's a meeting. Judge Harmon scrolls through his messages. Says nothing about student presentations. Devin's stomach tightens. The confirmation was sent last week to all committee members. Are you telling me how to do my job? The judge's voice hardens. No, sir, just providing information. Judge Harmon stands. He circles the bench, looming over Devin. Listen carefully. I've been on this bench for 20 years. I've seen every excuse, every story, every scheme. I understand, but no interruptions. His hand slams the table. Pieces of Devon's project scatter. A sensor crashes to the floor. This equipment could interfere with courthouse systems. Devon watches months of work break apart. Sir, that's months of research. Research? Judge Harmon laughs. Is that what they call it now? Where did you get these parts? Who really built this? I designed and built it myself. The parts were purchased with grant money from the State Science Foundation. Judge Harmon's jaw tightens. A likely story. Let me be clear. This courthouse isn't your science fair. He picks up a circuit board, examining it with exaggerated suspicion. We'll hold this device for security inspection. You can wait in the hallway until the committee meeting. And my presentation? If they confirm your story, you'll get your property back. Judge Harmon's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Maybe. Eventually. Devon stares at his broken project. Data collected from his own neighborhood. Evidence of environmental injustice. Now treated like contraband. May I have a receipt for my property, Your Honor? The judge's smile falters. Getting legal advice from somewhere, are we? Will Devon's months of work be destroyed before he can even present it? Devon waits in the hallway, watching the minutes tick by. His presentation time approaches, but security won't let him near room 302 without Judge Harmon's approval. Dr. Williams, a gray-haired environmental scientist with wire-rimmed glasses, spots Devon. There you are. Why aren't you setting up? We start in 15 minutes. Judge Harmon confiscated my project, says it's suspicious. Dr. Williams's eyebrows shoot up. That's absurd. You're our keynote student presenter. They return to Judge Harmon's courtroom together. The judge is on a call, holding up one finger to make them wait. Devon notices how the judge's posture changes when he sees Dr. Williams. Straighter, more formal. Judge Harmon, Dr. Williams begins when the call ends. There's been a misunderstanding. Devon Taylor is our invited presenter today. The judge barely glances at him. This young man brought unauthorized electronic equipment into a federal building. That requires proper investigation. It's a science project that I personally vetted. Did you run background checks on him and his family? Judge Harmon asks sharply. Do you know where he's from? Devon feels heat rising in his face. Dr. Williams shifts uncomfortably. He's one of our brightest students. That doesn't answer my question. Judge Harmon turns to Devon. Where exactly are you from, Mr. Taylor? I was born in Chicago, sir. We moved here 3 years ago. And before Chicago? Devon blinks, confused. My family has been in Chicago for generations. Judge Harmon makes a dismissive noise. Your project will remain confiscated until proper authorities can inspect it. However, he nods to Dr. Williams, you can take responsibility for him attending the meeting, without his device. Dr. Williams protests, but his entire presentation requires his project. Then he shouldn't have brought suspicious equipment into my courthouse. The judge's voice rises. Perhaps you'd like to explain to the committee why you're unprepared. Consider it a lesson in planning ahead. Devon's hands clench at his sides. May I at least have my presentation slides? They're on the same laptop we're holding for inspection. Dr. Williams checks his watch. We need to go. The committee has a tight schedule. Judge Harmon smiles thinly. Run along, then. And Mr. Taylor, next time know your place before you walk into my courthouse. Devon follows Dr. Williams to the meeting room. His heart pounds as they enter. 12 committee members sit around a conference table. Several observers line the walls. I apologize for the delay, Dr. Williams announces. We've had an unexpected situation. Devon steps forward. Every eye in the room turns to him. The weight of their expectations crushes down. I apologize, Devon begins, voice steady despite the humiliation burning in his chest. Judge Harmon has confiscated my project and presentation materials. I'll do my best to explain my findings from memory. Whispers spread through the room. Devon sees pity on some faces. On others, quiet judgment. A woman in the back row shakes her head and writes something in her notebook. How will Devon salvage his presentation without any of his materials? Devon stands before the environmental committee, empty-handed. He takes a deep breath and begins speaking from memory. My project measures particulate matter concentrations in low-income neighborhoods versus affluent areas. His voice grows stronger with each word. Over 6 months, I documented levels 3 times higher in minority communities. Despite the absence of visual aids, committee members lean forward. Devon sketches air particle distribution patterns on a borrowed notepad, explaining collection methodology and statistical controls. I identified correlation between pollution spikes and respiratory emergency room visits. He draws another diagram. The data shows environmental protection laws are enforced differently based on neighborhood demographics. Dr. Williams watches with quiet pride as Devon transforms potential disaster into a compelling presentation. When Devon finishes, the committee applauds. Remarkable work, says Committee Chair Dr. Lawson. Especially under these circumstances. Where is your project now? Judge Harmon is holding it for security reasons, Devon answers carefully. Dr. Lawson frowns. That's unusual. We'll look into it. Meanwhile, your findings deserve wider attention. Would you consider presenting at the state conference next month? Devon nods, gratitude washing over him. I'd be honored. As the meeting adjourns, Devon excuses himself to the restroom. In a private stall, he leans against the wall. The adrenaline crash hits him hard. His hands shake slightly as he pulls out his phone. He dials his father but gets voicemail. Dad, something happened at the courthouse. Judge Harmon confiscated my project and... He pauses, not wanting to sound like he's complaining. I managed okay, but I could use some advice. Call when you can. Dr. Williams waits outside. You did incredibly well, Devon. I've never seen such poise under pressure. Thank you. Do you think I can get my project back today? Let's find out. They return to Judge Harmon's courtroom. The judge is hearing a minor case. He spots Devon and Dr. Williams but makes them wait. Devon watches the proceedings, noting patterns. The well-dressed white defendant receives patient questioning. The young Hispanic woman who follows gets rapid-fire interruptions. After an hour, the courtroom clears. Judge Harmon finally acknowledges them. Still here, Mr. Taylor? Yes, sir. I've completed my presentation and would like to collect my project. That won't be possible today. Our security team needs to complete their inspection. Dr. Williams interjects. Judge Harmon, Devon needs his equipment. It contains months of irreplaceable data. Should have thought of that before bringing unauthorized devices into a federal building. Devon meets Judge Harmon's gaze. When can I expect it back, sir? When we're satisfied it's safe. Could be days, could be weeks. Devon makes a silent vow, his expression betraying nothing. He thanks the judge politely, turns and walks out with perfect composure. Once outside, he makes another call, this time to a different number. Uncle James, I need some legal advice about property confiscation in a federal building. His uncle's voice comes through clearly. Tell me everything. Who is Uncle James, and what legal strategy might he suggest? The next morning, Devon arrives at school, his mind still on his confiscated project. His physics teacher, Ms. Reynolds, pulls him aside after class. Devon, what happened yesterday? Dr. Williams called me. Devon explains the situation carefully, sticking to facts without emotion. Ms. Reynolds' expression darkens. Judge Harmon had no right to keep your property without cause. Have you told your father? Left him messages. He's at a conference in D.C. Well, don't give up. The Science Fair Committee still wants your entry next week. Devon nods. I'll need to rebuild everything from scratch. During lunch, Devon's phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Your project marked for disposal tomorrow morning. Security protocol. Sorry, friend at courthouse. Friend at. Devon's heart races. Months of irreplaceable air quality data gone. He tries calling his father again. Voicemail. After school, Devon returns to the courthouse. The security guard, different from yesterday, stops him. I need to speak with Judge Harmon, Devon says firmly. Judge left for the day. Come back tomorrow. This can't wait. My property is scheduled for disposal. The guard shrugs. Nothing I can do. Devon spots Officer Briggs down the hall. Officer Briggs, a moment, please. Briggs approaches reluctantly. What now, kid? My project is scheduled for disposal tomorrow. It contains irreplaceable research data. Judge's orders. Briggs smirks. Maybe you'll think twice before bringing suspicious devices here. Could I at least recover the data drive? It's the small blue component. No unauthorized access to secured items. Briggs turns away. Learn your lesson and move on. Devon walks outside, fighting frustration. He calls his uncle again. They're destroying my project tomorrow. I can't reach Dad. Document everything, his uncle advises. Names, times, what was said. I'm making calls. That evening, Devon works furiously in his garage, attempting to recreate his project from memory and spare parts. His mother watches from the doorway. Devon, sometimes fighting isn't worth it. This is, Mom. Devon doesn't look up from his work. This isn't just about my project anymore. What is it about then? Devon connects two wires carefully. When Judge Harmon confiscated my project, he didn't just take a device. He tried to silence data showing his courthouse sits in a neighborhood with the worst air quality violations. His mother's eyes widen. You think this is deliberate? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. What calls is Uncle James making, and will they come in time? Early morning. Devon arrives at the courthouse before it opens, carrying documentation proving his ownership of the project and its scientific purpose. He waits on the steps, reviewing the paperwork his uncle helped him prepare overnight. Judge Harmon arrives, surprise flashing across his face when he spots Devon. Mr. Taylor, persistent, aren't you? Yes, sir. I have documentation proving my project's legitimacy and requesting its immediate return. Judge Harmon barely glances at the papers. File it with the clerk. I have a busy docket today. Sir, security plans to dispose of my property this morning. Not my department. Judge Harmon attempts to walk past. Devon steps sideways, remaining respectful but insistent. Your Honor, I've documented everything that's happened. If my property is destroyed without due process, I'll be forced to escalate this matter. Judge Harmon's eyes narrow. Are you threatening me, young man? No, sir. I'm exercising my rights as a citizen. The judge steps closer. Let me be clear. You have no power here. I decide what happens in my courthouse. The courthouse belongs to the people, Your Honor. Judge Harmon's face flushes. You need a lesson in respect. Officer Briggs? Briggs approaches from security. Yes, Your Honor? Mr. Taylor here is causing a disturbance. Please escort him out. I'm standing on public property with legal documentation, Devon says calmly. Judge Harmon points at Devon's papers. Those look like falsified court documents to me. Confiscate them. Briggs hesitates. Sir? You heard me. Those papers could be fraudulent. Devon holds the documents tightly. They're notarized copies of my property ownership and scientific grant documentation. Judge Harmon leans close. You think you're smart? You think papers will save you? You're nothing here. Remember that. A courthouse administrator approaches. Judge Harmon, there's a call for you. They say it's urgent. The judge backs away. This isn't over. He follows the administrator inside. Devon waits until they're gone, then turns to Officer Briggs. I just want my project back before it's destroyed. Briggs looks uncomfortable. Kid, drop this. He won't let it go, and neither will I. Why are you following his illegal orders? Devon asks quietly. Briggs glances around, then lowers his voice. Look, I've got 3 years until retirement. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Is your pension worth destroying evidence of environmental discrimination? Briggs doesn't answer, but his expression speaks volumes. Who made that urgent call to Judge Harmon, and what's coming next? Afternoon at the courthouse. Devon sits on a bench outside Judge Harmon's courtroom, refusing to leave until someone addresses his property claim. Several attorneys pass by, looking at him curiously. One stops, a middle-aged woman with sharp eyes. You've been here all day. Court business? Trying to recover my confiscated property before it's destroyed. She sits beside him. I'm Laura Chen, Public Defender's Office. What property? Devon explains the situation, showing her his remaining documentation. Judge Harmon? She shakes her head. He has a reputation. Let me make a call. While she steps away, Devon checks his phone. Still no response from his father. But a text from his uncle reads, Hold tight. Help coming. Laura returns. I've spoken with court administration. Your project has already been moved to disposal, but we might be able to intervene if we act now. They hurry to the basement level where confiscated items are processed. The security officer refuses them entry without authorization. This young man's property is being illegally disposed of, Laura argues. I have my orders, the officer replies flatly. Through the door window, Devon spots his project on a table, partially disassembled. That's it right there. Please, that's months of environmental research. The officer blocks the view. Step back or I'll have you removed. Laura pulls Devon aside. We need a judge's order. Let me file an emergency motion. As they turn to leave, Judge Harmon emerges from the elevator. Ms. Chen, slumming with the troublemakers today? Your Honor, this young man's property is being improperly disposed of. I'm filing for an emergency stay. Judge Harmon laughs. Save your paperwork. That device was deemed a security risk by me personally. Based on what evidence? Laura challenges. My courtroom, my decision. Judge Harmon gestures to a nearby officer. Please escort them out. Mr. Taylor is banned from this building. Devon steps forward. Sir, I've been respectful and followed every rule. Why are you doing this? Judge Harmon stares coldly. Because I can. Some people need to learn their place in the system. Laura grips Devon's arm, whispering, Don't engage. We'll find another way. As they're escorted out, Devon sees Judge Harmon enter the disposal room. Through the closing door, he watches the judge pick up a hammer. He's going to destroy it himself, Devon whispers. Laura's expression hardens. Now we know this is personal. Time to call in bigger guns. With his project about to be physically destroyed, what's Devon's last recourse? Outside the courthouse, Devon paces the sidewalk. Laura makes frantic calls to other judges, seeking an emergency intervention. No one's available on such short notice, she admits, frustrated, and most won't cross Judge Harmon anyway. Devon's phone rings. His father, finally. Dad, they're destroying my project right now. I know, son. I've been briefed. Put me on speaker. Devon complies, confused. Laura watches curiously. This is Robert Taylor. His father's authoritative voice fills the air. Who am I speaking with? Laura Chen, Public Defender's Office. Your son's project is being improperly disposed of by Judge Harmon. I understand. Ms. Chen, please escort Devon back inside. Insist on seeing Judge Harmon immediately. Tell security to call this number if there's any resistance. He recites a government extension. Laura looks skeptical but nods. We'll try, Mr. Taylor. They re-enter the courthouse. At security, they're immediately stopped. Devon Taylor is banned from the premises, the guard states flatly. Laura stands firm. We need to see Judge Harmon now. If you refuse, please call this number. She shows the guard the number on her phone. The guard hesitates, then makes the call. His expression changes dramatically. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. He hangs up, suddenly deferential. You can proceed to Judge Harmon's chambers. As they walk through the courthouse, Devon whispers, "What just happened?" Laura shakes her head, equally confused. "Who exactly is your father?" "He works for the Justice Department, that's all I know." They reach Judge Harmon's chambers. His clerk tries to turn them away, but Laura mentions the phone number again. The clerk disappears inside, returning moments later. "The judge will see you now." They enter to find Judge Harmon standing behind his desk, Devon's partially damaged project in front of him. A hammer sits nearby. "This is harassment," the judge begins. "I've made my decision about this device." Laura steps forward. "Your Honor, we have instructions to call this number if you refuse to return Mr. Taylor's property." She displays the phone again. Judge Harmon scoffs. "Some bureaucratic underling doesn't concern me." "Then perhaps you should make the call yourself," Devon suggests quietly. Something in Devon's calm confidence makes Judge Harmon pause. He takes the phone reluctantly and dials. "This is Judge William Harmon. Who am I speaking with?" His expression shifts from annoyance to shock. "Yes, I understand, but the device was—" "Yes, sir." The color drains from Judge Harmon's face. He hands the phone back to Laura, his hand visibly shaking. "Your property will be returned immediately, Mr. Taylor," he says stiffly. "In its original condition, with all data intact," Devon specifies. Judge Harmon nods, unable to meet Devon's eyes. As they leave with the project, Devon's phone rings again. He answers on speaker. "Is it resolved, son?" his father asks. "Yes, Dad. Thank you." "Good. Now, would you put Judge Harmon on the line? I'm coming to town tomorrow and would like to meet with him personally." Laura stares at Devon in dawning realization. "Your father is—" Devon nods slightly as Judge Harmon approaches, looking ashen. "Judge Harmon, my father would like to speak with you." Devon hands over the phone. The judge takes it, his arrogance entirely evaporated. "This is Judge Harmon." From the phone comes a clear, authoritative voice. "Judge Harmon, this is United States Attorney General Robert Taylor. I'll be in your courthouse tomorrow at 9 a.m. to discuss your treatment of my son and the apparent pattern of judicial misconduct in your courtroom. Please clear your docket." Judge Harmon nearly drops the phone. "Yes, Mr. Attorney General, I'll make the arrangements." He returns the phone to Devon, then retreats to his chambers without another word. In the hallway, Laura lets out a low whistle. "Your father is the Attorney General of the United States?" Devon nods. "He was appointed last year. We keep it quiet at school." No wonder Judge Harmon looked like he'd seen a ghost. Laura examines the project. "Is this really about air quality monitoring?" "Yes. 6 months of data showing environmental protection laws aren't enforced equally across neighborhoods." Devon runs his fingers over the damaged components. The high pollution areas correspond exactly with Judge Harmon's harshest sentencing patterns. Laura's eyes widen. "You found evidence of environmental racism without even realizing its connection to judicial bias." "I just wanted to help my neighborhood breathe cleaner air." Devon carefully packs up his project. "I never expected to expose a corrupt judge." How will Judge Harmon face the U.S. Attorney General tomorrow? Dawn breaks over the city. News vans already surround the courthouse. Word has leaked that the U.S. Attorney General is making an unscheduled visit. Inside his chambers, Judge Harmon paces nervously, phone pressed to his ear. "Senator, you promised protection. Yes, I've always ruled in favor of your interests, but I understand politics, but this is my career." He slams the phone down. His clerk enters, pale-faced. "Sir, there are FBI agents in the lobby." "FBI? Taylor's not wasting time." Judge Harmon straightens his robes, attempting dignity. Meanwhile, Devon and his father arrive at a private courthouse entrance. Robert Taylor is tall, distinguished, with the same calm demeanor as his son. FBI agents flank them. "You okay?" Robert asks quietly. "Better now," Devon replies. "I didn't mean for all this. You stood your ground respectfully. I'm proud of you." Robert squeezes his shoulder. "But this isn't just about your project anymore." They enter a conference room where Laura Chen waits with several Justice Department officials. Maps of the city cover one wall, with certain neighborhoods highlighted. "Ms. Chen has been invaluable," an aide tells Robert. "She's compiled substantial evidence of Judge Harmon's pattern of discriminatory rulings." Laura nods. "It correlates directly with Devon's air quality research. The neighborhoods with poorest environmental protections match exactly with where Judge Harmon's rulings have been most severe against minorities." Robert studies the maps. "And these correlate with Senator Whitfield's development investments?" "Perfectly," another aide confirms. "The senator's shell companies have been buying property in these areas for years, after environmental regulations were selectively unenforced." Devon examines his project. "That explains why Judge Harmon was so determined to destroy my research. It proves the connection." Robert turns to his son. "You stumbled onto something bigger than either of us realized. Your environmental justice project exposed actual injustice." A knock at the door. Judge Harmon enters, flanked by his own attorney. The temperature in the room seems to drop. "Attorney General Taylor," Judge Harmon begins stiffly. "This theatrical display is hardly necessary for what amounts to a misunderstanding about a school project." Robert doesn't offer his hand. "This meeting isn't about my son's project, though that incident provided the thread that unraveled a disturbing pattern. Please sit." For the next hour, Justice Department officials present evidence of Judge Harmon's judicial misconduct. Discriminatory sentencing patterns, selective enforcement of environmental regulations, suspicious connections to Senator Whitfield's business interests. Charts display the data clearly. In neighborhoods with high minority populations, the same ones Devon's project showed had poor air quality, defendants received sentences averaging 40% longer than identical cases from other neighborhoods. Phone records reveal calls between Judge Harmon's chambers and Senator Whitfield's office immediately preceding key environmental rulings that benefited the senator's development companies. Judge Harmon's attorney interjects repeatedly, but each objection is met with more damning evidence. "This is a political witch hunt," Judge Harmon finally explodes. "I've served on this bench for 20 years. "Yes," Robert replies evenly. "And we've reviewed 20 years of your rulings. Care to explain why defendants from certain neighborhoods receive sentences averaging 40% longer than identical cases from other neighborhoods?" Judge Harmon looks to his attorney, who appears increasingly uncomfortable. "Or perhaps," Robert continues, "you can explain these phone calls between your chambers and Senator Whitfield's office immediately preceding key environmental rulings." The judge's face goes pale. "I want immunity." His attorney stands abruptly. "My client is not making statements at this time." Robert nods to an aide who slides a document across the table. "Judge Harmon, this is a formal notice of investigation by the Justice Department. You are being placed on administrative leave pending its completion." "You can't do this," Judge Harmon whispers. "I'm not doing this. Your actions are." Robert stands. "The Judicial Ethics Committee is convening an emergency session this afternoon. I suggest you prepare." As Judge Harmon and his attorney leave, Robert turns to Devon. "Your project revealed something we've suspected but couldn't prove. Environmental injustice and judicial misconduct often go hand in hand." Devon looks at his damaged project. "I just wanted to help my neighborhood breathe cleaner air." "And you will," Robert assures him. "Your data is now part of a federal environmental justice investigation." Laura approaches. "Devon, the Environmental Committee called. They want your full presentation tomorrow with Justice Department protection this time." By evening, News of Judge Harmon's suspension spreads. Devin watches the coverage with his parents at home. Sources confirm the investigation began after Judge Harmon attempted to confiscate and destroy scientific evidence collected by a high school student, a reporter announces. The evidence allegedly showed environmental protection laws being selectively enforced in minority neighborhoods. Devin's mother turns to her husband, who, "How big is this going to get?" "Very," Robert replies. "Senator Whitfield's development companies have been exploiting these neighborhoods for years, buying property cheap after environmental violations made them undesirable, then flipping them after selective cleanup." "But why target Devin's project?" his mother asks. "Because data doesn't lie," Devin answers. "My air quality measurements created a map that matched perfectly with Judge Harmon's discriminatory sentencing patterns. It connected environmental racism with judicial misconduct." Robert's phone rings. He answers, listens, then sighs. "Senator Whitfield is calling for an investigation into the investigation, claims it's politically motivated." "Is it?" Devin asks. "Justice isn't political, son." Robert's expression hardens. But those who obstruct it often hide behind politics. The next morning, Devin presents his findings to the Environmental Committee, this time with his project intact and working. FBI agents stand discreetly around the room. "These air quality readings were taken over 6 months in different neighborhoods," Devin explains, displaying his data. "The pattern is clear. Environmental violations are reported equally across the city, but enforcement actions are concentrated in affluent areas." Committee members examine his findings with new understanding of their significance. "This data will be essential to our federal investigation," Dr. Lawson announces. "Mr. Taylor, the committee would like to fund an expansion of your monitoring system to cover the entire city." As they leave the meeting, Laura Chen joins them. "Judge Harmon's attorney called. He wants to make a deal." Robert raises an eyebrow. "Already? He must know we have more than we've shown." "The dominoes are falling," Laura confirms. 3 more judges with similar ruling patterns have requested leaves of absence. Senator Whitfield's development company stock dropped 30% this morning. Devin takes in this information quietly. His simple science project has triggered a cascade of accountability. "What happens now?" he asks his father. "Justice," Robert answers simply. "And perhaps cleaner air for your neighborhood." As Judge Harmon seeks a deal, who else will fall in this widening investigation? 1 week later, the Judicial Ethics Committee hearing unfolds in a packed room. Judge Harmon sits with his defense team, looking diminished without his robes. Senator Whitfield watches from the back, surrounded by advisors, whispering urgently. When Robert Taylor enters with Devin, the senator slips out a side door. The committee chair calls the hearing to order. "We are reviewing evidence of judicial misconduct by Judge William Harmon, including discriminatory sentencing patterns, improper dismissal of environmental cases, and potential corruption involving private development interests." Devin's research is presented first. His rebuilt project stands on a display table, screens showing clear correlations between air quality violations, denied environmental cases, and health outcomes across different neighborhoods. This data, initially collected for a high school science project, revealed a disturbing pattern, the presenter explains. Environmental protection cases from minority neighborhoods were dismissed at 8 times the rate of identical cases from other areas. Judge Harmon's attorney objects. "A student science project hardly constitutes admissible evidence." The committee chair responds firmly. "The methodology has been independently verified by 3 university environmental departments. The data stands." Next, Justice Department investigators present phone records, banking transactions, and ruling patterns that draw a clear picture. Judge Harmon systematically ruled in favor of development interests connected to Senator Whitfield, allowing environmental violations in targeted neighborhoods. During a break, Devin overhears 2 committee members talking. "The pattern is undeniable," one says, "but will they actually remove a sitting federal judge?" "They have to," the other replies. "The evidence is too public now. That kid's science project blew the lid off everything. When the hearing resumes, Judge Harmon takes the stand. His arrogance has vanished, replaced by a desperate pragmatism. I acknowledge some of my rulings may show statistical disparities, he admits carefully, but there was never intent to discriminate. The questioning is relentless. Justice Department lawyers present case after case where identical circumstances led to wildly different outcomes based solely on neighborhood and racial demographics. And your frequent communication with Senator Whitfield's office before environmental rulings? A committee member asks. Judge Harmon hesitates too long. The senator is an old friend. We discussed various matters, including which environmental cases to dismiss to facilitate his development projects. The judge's attorney interrupts. My client wishes to amend his testimony. A murmur runs through the room. Everyone recognizes what's coming. Judge Harmon leans forward. I am willing to provide complete information about Senator Whitfield's involvement in exchange for consideration in my case. The committee chair glances at Robert Taylor, who nods slightly. This hearing will recess while Judge Harmon provides his statement to Justice Department officials. As people file out, Devin approaches his father. He's turning on the senator? When powerful people fall, they rarely fall alone, Robert replies. Harmon knows his career is over. Now he's negotiating the terms of surrender. Outside the hearing room, reporters swarm. Devin stays back as his father addresses the press. Today marks an important step toward environmental justice in our communities. When we allow environmental protections to be selectively enforced, we are deciding whose children deserve clean air and whose do not. That is unacceptable in America. Devin notices Judge Harmon being escorted to a private room, shoulders slumped, the weight of his actions finally visible on his face. Their eyes meet briefly. The judge looks away first. Later that evening, news breaks. Senator Whitfield has resigned, citing health concerns. 3 development companies announce emergency board meetings. The EPA launches investigations in 12 cities with similar patterns. At home, Devin watches the coverage with mixed emotions. You never intended any of this, his mother says. No, Devin admits, but I'm not sorry it happened. His father joins them, loosening his tie. Judge Harmon provided names, dates, amounts. The corruption network was larger than we imagined. Will it make a difference? Devin asks. For the neighborhoods like ours? Robert nods. The EPA is fast-tracking remediation for the affected areas, and your monitoring system is being adopted as a model for community oversight. Devin considers this. From science project to federal policy. That's how change happens, his father says. One person stands their ground, others follow. With Harmon cooperating, how high will this corruption investigation reach? 3 months later. Devin stands at a podium in Washington, D.C., addressing the National Conference on Environmental Justice. His rebuilt and enhanced air quality monitoring system is displayed prominently beside him. Environmental justice isn't abstract, Devin tells the audience of scientists, activists, and government officials. It's about who can breathe clean air, who has safe water, and whose children play in toxic soil. The conference room is packed. In the front row sit Robert Taylor and Laura Chen, now heading a new environmental justice task force at the Justice Department. Devin continues, My project began as simple data collection in my neighborhood. It ended by exposing how environmental protections were selectively enforced to benefit development interests at the expense of minority communities. Screens behind him show before and after maps of his city. 3 months ago, these red zones had particulate matter levels exceeding federal standards by 300%. Today, with proper enforcement, those levels have dropped by 70%. After his presentation, Devin joins a panel discussion with environmental scientists and legal experts. The Taylor case, as we now call it, has transformed our approach, says EPA Director Harrison. We've launched similar monitoring programs in 30 cities nationwide. The data is revealing similar patterns of selective enforcement. A Justice Department representative adds, "Following Senator Whitfield's indictment, we've opened investigations into similar arrangements in 12 other states. Judge Harmon's testimony has been invaluable." Devin listens, still processing how his science project catalyzed such sweeping changes. During questions, someone asks about the judicial system reforms. The Administrative Office of U.S. Courts has implemented new transparency requirements, explains Judicial Ethics Committee Chair Lopez. All environmental rulings must now include detailed reasoning and are subject to statistical review for potential bias patterns. After the conference, Devin and his father walk through the National Mall. Senator Whitfield's development company is paying for environmental remediation in all affected neighborhoods, Robert tells him. The settlement includes funding for community health clinics specializing in respiratory conditions. Devin watches children playing nearby. Will it last, though, these changes? That depends on people like you, Robert says. Systems only change when someone challenges them. Devin's phone buzzes with a notification. The state university has offered him a full scholarship to study environmental science and law. They want me to expand my monitoring system statewide, Devin says, amazed. Robert smiles proudly. From science project to state policy, not bad for a high school senior. I just wanted to help my neighborhood, Devin says. I never expected all this. That's how change usually happens, Robert replies. Someone refuses to accept injustice, even when they're told to know their place. As they continue walking, Devin notices a news alert on his phone. 3 more judges in different states have been placed on administrative leave pending investigations. It's spreading, Devin observes. Robert nods. What you uncovered wasn't isolated, it was systemic. Sometimes all it takes is one crack in the foundation to reveal structural problems. And one person standing their ground, Devin adds. Exactly. Robert points to the Justice Department building in the distance. Next week, we're announcing a nationwide environmental justice initiative based partly on your monitoring model. Community-driven data collection, transparent enforcement tracking. As Devin's work spreads nationwide, what powerful interests will resist these changes? 1 year later. Devin walks through his old neighborhood, now transformed. New trees line streets once barren. Air quality monitors, based on his design but now manufactured professionally, stand at key intersections, their data publicly accessible via smartphone app. He stops outside the federal courthouse where everything began. The building looks the same, but much has changed inside. A new plaque announces the Environmental Justice Review Board, established in the wake of the Harmon-Whitfield scandal. Devin enters, passing through security without incident. The guard nods respectfully, recognizing him. In the main hall, a community exhibition showcases environmental data from across the city. School children gather around interactive displays showing air quality improvements over time. Laura Chen, now Environmental Justice Special Counsel, meets him by a display featuring his original project, restored and preserved as a catalyst for change. The touring exhibition opens in Chicago next month, she tells him. Your story has inspired similar projects in 47 cities. How's the judicial reform progressing? Devin asks. 17 judges have been reviewed for similar pattern rulings. 5 have resigned rather than face investigation. Laura smiles. And Judge Harmon? Community service, ironically. Part of his plea agreement includes working in the neighborhoods his rulings harmed. They walk to a conference room where Robert Taylor waits with several Justice Department officials and community leaders. Maps on the wall show dramatic improvements in environmental compliance across previously neglected neighborhoods. The data doesn't lie, a health department official reports. Childhood asthma hospitalizations down 32% in the affected communities. Adult respiratory conditions improving similarly. Robert greets his son with a proud embrace. Devin's monitoring system has been adopted as the national standard for community air quality assessment. Devin shakes his head, still processing the impact of his work. It was never about the technology. It was about asking who deserves protection under the law. A community leader stands. We've lived with environmental discrimination for generations. We knew the air was making our children sick. But without data, without proof, our complaints were dismissed. Sometimes justice needs evidence, Robert agrees. But it also needs people willing to stand their ground. After the meeting, Devin and his father walk through the neighborhood where the project began. Children play in a new park built where an illegal dumping site once stood. Elderly residents sit on porches, breathing cleaner air. Senator Whitfield's sentencing is tomorrow, Robert mentions. His development company has been ordered to fund environmental remediation for the next 20 years. Devin watches a group of high school students installing a new air monitor. They're continuing the project, expanding it. That's how lasting change works, Robert says. It outlives its creators. They stop at Devin's old school, where a banner announces a new environmental science academy named in his honor. Inside, students cluster around monitoring stations, analyzing data and preparing reports for community action. You know what Judge Harmon told me during his community service? Robert says. He said he never thought one person could change a system, especially not someone young. It wasn't just me, Devin replies. It was everyone who spoke up after the first domino fell. As sunset bathes the neighborhood in golden light, Devin looks at how far they've come. The system only works when everyone has equal protection under it. Robert nods. That's the lesson here. Justice isn't automatic. It requires vigilance, evidence, and courage to stand against power when it's abused. Devin smiles at the simple truth that has transformed his life and community. Your place is wherever you choose to make a stand. If you found strength in Devin's story, hit that like button to help others discover it too. These stories of justice need to be told. Subscribe to Beat Stories for more powerful narratives of everyday people standing up to systemic injustice. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that their voice matters. One person can make a difference.
You've seen the story. Now what will you do with it? At Beat Stories, we believe reflection is good, but action is better. Subscribe, share, speak, because awareness is only the first step.